Okay, so this is gonna be a demonstration on how to upload your drawings that you did with the sub onto the computer, and how we're gonna change and manipulate them in Photoshop. So this is actually the second video that I'm making. The first video was actually way too long, so I'm gonna be pretty cut and dry though, straight to the point on like what you need to do for today. All right, so we're gonna go on to Google Drive. So I'm gonna show you guys how to take your photos, upload them on the Google Drive. But I like to use the Google Drive though to upload, add pictures. In the past, before I had you guys upload on Classroom if you were in Computer Graphics 1 last year. But we're gonna try to use Google Drive a little bit more, just because you don't have that Classroom. Let's just say you finish high school, you don't have Classroom. You can always use Google Drive. As a very effective tool to store, keep files and images on there. So I just took this picture on my phone, real easy. Well, I'll have you guys do this before before you see like this video. It's kind of like what we're gonna do for the warm up today. All right, so we're just gonna download this image. So I'm just click on this download button on the top right. It's going to download here, and so it's gonna have the same file name up there. We're gonna open up Photoshop, so just make sure to open up Photoshop, create a new document, file new. We've done this before at the practice, so just going through these motions again. So click on print. We're gonna do letter. I'm gonna do it the longer way for this one. So I want them to be longer, just because usually when you look at journals or things, it's usually um, made that way. So this is gonna be the white page that we're gonna start out with. Now, I'm gonna give you guys some options. So if you want to make this a little bit longer, so I'm doing Command minus to zoom out, Command plus to zoom in. So I'm gonna give you guys some hotkeys though, keep in mind of as you guys are working. But we're gonna zoom out a little bit. I'm gonna use this frame tool here, and we're just gonna drag this a little bit longer. All right. Now, if you have like a weird color when you drag it, like for example, looks kind of like this, you drag it, it's because this color here is not white. You want to make sure this is a white color when you drag it. All right, so this is gonna make it a little bit longer, but you can change it and adjust it however you want for your journal entries. All right, so now what we're gonna do is with that image that we've downloaded. Again, we'll go back to the downloads here. So we download this on the computer. I'm going to go to click on this tab, show in Finder. It's going to show up in your downloads folder. So just real important. I forgot I mentioned this in another video, but you want to just make sure to make a folder with your name, first, last name, to be, and save all your work in this folder. So just click and drag this image in here, and if you want, you can delete them off of the downloads folder. That way people don't mess with it. All right, so I'm going to talk to all my classes about just not deleting people's work. I know some people have issues in my computer graphics too with you guys using your work, but it's just real important though. Anything that we do, um, you can back it up into the Google Drive, which I'll show you guys before the end of the class how to do that, just in case somebody's doing something devious and deleting things. All right, but we're going to go back to Photoshop here, and we're just going to click and drag this image onto the workspace. So just drag it onto the white space, and we're just going to double click it just to get rid of the transform. So as I add images on here, they're going to be all separate layers. So this I can just title it the picture. It's going to be the original picture that we're going to use. But the very first step that we're going to do is we're going to actually cut out the picture. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer. And we're going to be mainly using this selection tool here, or this lasso tool. So if you don't have this lasso tool, you can click and hold, change it. This polygon magnetic lasso tool is good to use. And you can use a tablet to help you with your drawing. You can use the mouse, but I'm just going to click on one end, click and hold the mouse button, or just make sure to drag, And then once you let go of it and you go all the way around, it's going to make a selection for you. All right, so that's pretty easy. I'm just selecting the baby. I'm gonna do Command C as in cat to copy, and these are gonna be hotkeys we're gonna use, and it's gonna be Command V as a Valentine to paste. So if you look at your layers window now, we've added a separate layer for that. And if I were to hide this picture layer, it's only going to show me that picture of the baby. So this one I want to just double click on the name, rename the baby. Okay, but basically the way the layers work though is you're basically just putting like acetone or like tracing paper on top of one another. So it's like a separate layer for just the pictures, and then there's a separate layer for the baby that's on top. Okay, so we're just going to make sure to cut out each of those pictures, and also make sure to go back to your picture layer, because if I do a selection, let's just say I were to cut the words out on this particular layer, and do Command C as in copy command, it's going to tell you it's empty. The reason why it's empty though is because on this layer here where the baby is, there's nothing like there to copy. So just make sure to click back on your picture layer, do Command C to copy, Command V to paste, and then that'll give you that separate layer for the words. So we're going to hide the baby, and this one is going to be your words layer. All right, so that's all we're doing right now, which is we're just cutting out the pictures. So I'm going back to picture here, lasso tool. Last thing I'm going to do is cut out these trees here. So we cut it out, Command C to copy, Command V to paste. And it's going to be at the right trees here. Trees. Okay, at this point now though, you don't really need this picture layer anymore. Later on we can maybe use the words and text, or you could type it out too. But I just want you guys just to cut out the 3 main pictures. So each of these layers though, if you click on it, it's only going to affect that specific layer. So for example, if I were to let's just say like add color to this. Okay, just keep in mind that it's only happening on that baby layer. So if I were to hide this though, it's not going to affect any of the other layers. And same thing with this layer here. It's not going to affect that layer on top. And even like when you look at it too, like you see how like this baby layers on top, the green, it's actually overlapping the red here. And the same thing if I were to color like a yellow here, it's going to go behind all those different things. Okay, so keep in mind with your layers though that things do go on top or behind certain things, depending on like if it's on the bottom, it's behind everything. On the top, it's on top of everything. But you don't have to worry about too much about the layers. That's kind of like the general gist of it. Now, obviously, I did some things on here that I didn't mean to do. So just a real important tool you want to keep open: Windows History. You can actually go back and undo those mistakes that you made. So I would just go back to the point that you want to where you want it to be fixed, and you can just work from there. So I'm going back to this layer here. What we're going to do is we're actually going to resize these pictures. So on this baby layer, I'm going to do Command T as in turtle, and this is going to be your transform tool. So you can actually click and drag to make the picture bigger, stretch and skew it, flip it around. Just real important though, you want to keep it the same ratio. You don't want to have it look wider or too skinny. You can hold the shift key to resize it as well. So I'll do Command minus to zoom out. For this particular one, I'm going to have like the portrait be like, real important. So I'm going to have it to the side here. Do that a little bit more. And let's just have like the image flip too. So I think this looks nice here. You can also rotate it around the edges. So if you see like the mouse, it changes to this kind of like curved look. So you can actually rotate it to the picture. So once you're done though, you can just double click it to finish the transform. And once you kind of like resize the image, we're going to have to also adjust the levels. So when I say like levels though, I'm talking about like the your grays being the whites, these lines be a little bit darker. So the way we're going to do that though is we're going to go to image on top, adjustments, and then go to levels. So it's gonna actually like affect the raw image. So anything that we do now, we can't really change back an image unless we go back to the history panel. But the way the levels works though is this one that's on the furthest to the right. Still control your grays. So you want to just change the grays into like a white. And then on the opposite spectrum, it's going to control your darks. So typically you want to keep the darks around like, where it starts going up on the slope. And then if you have shading though, it's going to control like the in-between values. So you just want to make sure you have like nice dark lines to use. You can check the preview to see the difference. Click OK. So I'm pretty happy with how this looked. So you want to do this for like all the pictures. That way you can have like an idea of or like use like the actual picture in your work. So we're gonna do the same thing for all of these. We'll click on words, Command T as in turtle, resize it, rotate it. Maybe I might want to just stretch the words a little bit on this one. Double click, image, adjustments, layers. Make that gray into a white, and make this into a dark. Click OK, and there we go. So one thing I'm gonna have you guys do too with each of those layers is we're gonna we'll do it at the end though. So on this tree one, same thing, Command T as in turtle, resize it. Actually, we can do this as we're working along. So if you look at it now, like some of my tree got cut out in the picture. So just make sure for each of those drawings that you did, change this overlay, these are overlays, into multiply. So if you change it to multiply, it's basically going to make that white into a see-through. We're going to do that for each of them. So going back to that tree layer, and again, I'm going to change the tree into multiply too. Go to image, adjustments, same thing, layers. We're just kind of cleaning up the drawings that we're doing, seeing how to use them later. So click OK. And there you go. So resize a little bit. Now, if you notice though, there's like some areas where it may be a little bit gray. So you can actually use the eraser tool. You just erase it to kind of clean it up a little bit. Yeah, if it's like some areas though, you can just do that to clean it up. So now you have like your drawings like laid out. Just how it is. You can always feel free to change up, move things. So you can use the move tool, transform to just play around and manipulate it. Now, one thing I do like though is if you have like certain things that you want to like repeat or duplicate, there is a way you can do that. So with these words here, if you right click with the mouse and you click on duplicate layer, you can actually make duplicate copies of this. So I'm actually going to change this to words 2. Okay, and we do the Command T as in turtle to transform. You can actually repeat and make these things smaller. So I don't know, maybe I want to do something where it's repeating like this, and maybe I might want to do another duplicate copy. Same thing. Change this to 3. Command T is in turtle. Command Shift. You can do like certain things like this if you want to like repeat like a pattern or texture in the words. Maybe something to play around with. Even when you have like repeating like this, you can even like do Command or I'll hold the Shift key and select these other ones. Maybe do Command E as in elephant. That'll merge all those layers together. And if you wanted to, you could duplicate this even further. You can have like fun, experiment with different things you can do in Photoshop. Maybe I might want to merge these to Command E to merge, and T as in turtle. The other thing is when you merge them, though, it goes back into a normal overlay, so we're going to change it back into that. So you know, you can kind of like play around with that.